Okay, so let's start simple. We have this one here. This is also from a past paper, but because I modified it, I'm unable to tell which year it was. Okay, so on the x or y plane below, plot the points K, which is -3, -2, and L, which is 1, 4. So for this one, let's start with the point K. X here, remember it's always X and then Y. You are using the alphabetical order. So X here is -3. So you go to the X-axis. This is the X-axis, it's always labeled, and then this is the Y-axis, it's always labeled Y. Okay, so on the X-axis, we have a -3, right? And then you can check the Y-axis. We are told here that on the Y-axis we should have a -2. So on the Y-axis we have a -2. So the meeting point of these two is here. So you can put a cross or a dot. So now when you do this, you can name it K. Remember, the first point is K, which is -3, 2. Please, you can't interchange these two. X always comes first. And then next, we have L, which is 1, 4, right? So in this case, the first number there is from the X-axis. So the first number, which is a 1, is coming from the X-axis. So you have a 1, 4. So 1, 4. 4 is there on the Y-axis. So you have a 4 on the Y-axis, a 1 on the X-axis. So you can just follow this line and that line, and then wherever they are meeting, put a cross or a dot. Just make sure you maintain. Don't use a cross there and a dot there. If you decide to use dots on both sides. And don't make it too big. Make sure that it's definite. It's able to show exactly where you are pointing. So this one will be your L. And then next we have this one here. Y is equal to -x. So this one is basic. At one point it will be in your head, but let's just do it. So now to sketch the graph of this, you need to make a box. It's okay to have 3. You can have 2 boxes. That should be okay, but in order for you to be as accurate as possible, it's better to have 3 boxes. So this one will be your X, and then this is your Y. So in the X box, you will pick points from here. You are free to pick any points as long as you are able to use those numbers nicely. Remember, every time you are given an option to pick numbers, you want to make sure that you are picking numbers which are very easy to work with. So for me, and make sure you make them, you pick points from which are at least maybe 2 or 3 steps apart, just to improve your work. So you can have -2. I have picked this one, and then 0 is very easy for me. You can pick it. Then I can also pick a 2. Another one can pick -4, -3, -2. Those numbers will still work. but because they are too close, you may not be quite as accurate, especially when you have a coefficient there. Okay, so now that we have picked these 3 points, we have to find the corresponding y values. How do you do that? You have the equation there, right? So now, since you have the equation, y is equal to negative x. So where there is x, you put the x values from this box, the x values you have just picked. So make sure that if it has a negative, you take it as a negative, and don't forget this negative in front. So now this one will be, when you multiply a negative sign by a negative sign, you have a positive sign. So the y value there will be a 2. And then next, y is equal to negative, and then in brackets you can put your 0. And then since 0 is a neutral number, it's neither positive nor negative, this one will have no impact on it. 0 times negative, you still have a 0, so this one will be a 0 there. And then lastly, and by the way, these 2 points are enough to draw your graph, except that you need a third point for confirmation. In case you made a mistake on one of these, a third point will be able to tell you that. Okay, so let's have this one. So we have negative, and then in brackets we have a 2. So this one, negative and positive. By the way, if there is no sign, we know that this is a positive number. So negative times positive, this one will be a negative. So we have a negative 2 there. And then next, you can treat these as coordinates. So you can start with negative 2, 4. So negative 2, 4 is x is negative 2. So you can go to x is equal to negative 2 there. And then y is 2. So you go to where y is equal to 2. And then the meeting point is here. So you can put a cross there. And then next you have 0, 0. This one here, you can have your 0, 0. And then next you have 2, negative 2. So x here is, by the way, 0, 0 is the original, where both x and y is equal to 0. So in this case here we have a 2 for x, and then a negative 2 for y. So now the 2 are meeting at this point, so you can put your cross like that. So as you can see, my 3 points are forming a straight line like that. So all I need to do is to connect them with a straight and solid line. Why is the line solid? Because, let me just put it upside down, because I have my phone this side. So the line is solid because we have an equal sign. So as long as there is an equal sign, whether it's saying greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, as long as an equal sign is there, your line will always be solid. So now after you do this, you can name your line. This one will be x is equal to negative, y is equal to negative x, like that. Okay, this is it for this part. Let me make a separate one for shading.